right, guys, since we are here making content, I figured I'd give you the one of my most favorite spinning reels on a budget. Let me go get it for you. Bam. So this guy right here, I initially picked up 3 Excelers, and I was like, man, those are bad to the bone. Those are great reels, right? And keep in mind, I'm not sponsored by Daiwa. I would love to get a sponsor. So if you guys know anybody could hook that up, man, I'd love it. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, I'm not sponsored. So the best spinning rod, smooth drag, and the sound that this thing makes, I gotta say it's the new Regal. The new Regal 2500 spooled up with 8 pounds, Beyond Braid or Suffix, whatever you use. There's a lot of good 8-strand braids out there that you can get away with. And, 8 to 12 pound floral. Several brands out there you could actually, use. But going back to this reel, the drag is so smooth. And I believe this is $69.99. And I'll share you guys the link below that supports the channel. But you hear this? Oh man, the click that it makes, it's like a little ASMR here. Let me put it right next to the mic. It's so smooth, and the noise the clicks are so addicting, right? And man, it's so buttery smooth on the cast. That line just flies out there. So when I'm using 8-pound test, I have full faith in these Daiwa reels. The previous tournaments, I was using the older Exceler. But honestly, I'm starting to think like maybe I should invest more into these Regals. The drag game has gotten so good for these budget reels. And it just looks super sick, man. Look at this. You don't really need to get yourself a $200 to $300 spinner reel nowadays. For those of you that can't afford it, yeah, I encourage you to get the best spinner reel possible, especially the ones with smoother drag. But to win tournaments, the bass don't care, the fish don't care. Whether you throw a $70 spinning reel versus a $1,000 spinning reel. They really don't. I think that's about it, I don't really have much to say about it. I'll give you extra tips on how to spool these reels and what knot that I use when I use a spinning reel when I go braid to leader. So in all these reel packages, they have these little plastic washers, and I forget the name of them. But if you have a tough time having a smoother spool when you spool the line, having it really aligned with the spool, put one of those plastic washers inside the reel, and you can get it real even, right? Second tip would be fill it up all the way to, the very tip right here. Maybe leaving 1/8 of an inch at the very end. The best knot that I encourage people to use is the FG knot. And I'll show you guys how to tie that in the next video. And when I'm throwing like the mooch minnow or some sort of mid-strolling bait, depending on the water clarity, if the fish have a really good look at your bait, if they could look at your bait for a long time, I prefer going 8-pound. Now, if it's dirty water, kind of like we have a natural lake called Clear Lake, which is not so clear at all, you can get away with 12-pound test or 16-pound test when you're throwing a mid-stroll bait. Now, if you're drop shotting, places like Havasu, I prefer to throw a 8-pound leader. I think 8 is the lowest I'll go. Just because those fish, they get to look at that bait really well. And I'm not saying that they could see the line. I'm saying that because that bait is acting less natural with the higher pound test, they're least likely to actually commit and bite it. If you're throwing an 8-pound, you'll get more natural movement out of that bait. For instance, an M3 6-inch worm, right? But if you're throwing 12-pound tests or 16-pound tests and they have a very good look at it and it's not moving as buoyant or not moving as natural, they're going to automatically swim away because they have a very good look at that bait. Now, if you're throwing in toolies or off a grass edge where it's mixed into vegetation, like at that point it don't matter because the bait's probably sitting on the vegetation where there's so many things going on that that bass is so comfortable in its environment on that grass edge or toolies that it's just going to react to it really fast and they're not going to even have time to look at it because their instinct is, bam, I want to eat it. Versus Havasu, if you're fishing a clear lake, a clear reservoir like Havasu or San Vicente, and it drops next to them and there's not a lot of cover, they're going to slowly swim down to it and they're going to kind of turn their eye like this, look at it. Okay, I'll eat it, right? They have a little bit more time to look at that bait. And that's when you want to bring down your line size diameter. But if you're flipping heavy cover or fishing a grass edge and throwing a drop shot next to a grass mat or a bed, I recommend going up. And you can go as high as 16-pound test. And if I were to give you a general weight for drop shotting, it'd be a 1/4 ounce tungsten egg shape sinker, and made for a free rig. So that way you can actually tie on your drop shot weights rather than using that pinched off eyelet for that weight. So that's the tips that I have. I don't want to give you too much information during this video. I think that's enough for you guys to kind of take whatever I told you guys or I informed you guys, apply it to your practice days, and really get to it. But go get yourself 1 or 2 of these off of the link below. They're all affiliate links that support the channel. Tell me what you think, and if you guys have Amazon Prime, they offer free returns. So if you don't like it right when you get it out of the box, go ahead and just return it. They'll give you a full refund. But I absolutely love this spinning reel, and I'll be using it for probably the next 5-10 years, unless Dawa knocks on my door with like $1,000 reel, and I'm like, I can't turn that down. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.